Hello and welcome to today's edition of the Locker Room Voice of the People TV. I am Jerry Apelioi, and we've got a thrilling show for you today. It promises to be exciting as I'm being joined by the controversial one. He used to be the special one. That was Moreno, the only one. I think it was Jogging Club that was the only one. And definitely a lot going down on the show this lovely afternoon. Kate, it's great to have you join us once again on Locker Room.
Good afternoon, Jerry. Good afternoon, our viewers, and it's so good to be here today. Locker room. I don't know why you're calling me controversial, but hey.
Yeah, everybody has to be the one. Anyway, I'm the host. I'm the host one.
Okay.
All right. Mario will be joining us virtually, and we're ready to break down all the action and share our hot takes on what's going down in the football world. And our advice that you stay tuned, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell for those of us watching us on YouTube. And of course, we're also on LSL TV. And don't forget, you can also call us via the WhatsApp number showing on your screen to join the conversation. All right, before we hit, let's just hit the stories where the Super Eagles is preparing for the Unity Cup. And that Unity Cup is coming up in England, in London to be precise. And the Super Eagles, we hear, will be without several key players for the upcoming Unity Cup in England due to league commitment. The tournament, which will feature matches against Jamaica, Ghana, will coincide with crucial league games for several of Nigeria's top players. As a result, head coach Chelle is expected to consider new players for the squad. 10 regular Super Eagles players are likely to miss the tournament, including goalkeeper Stanley Nwabali and defenders William Ekong and Bright Oshai Samuel. Other notable absentees include midfielders Fisayo Dele Bashiru and Alassane Yusuf Abdullahi, as well as forward Samuel Chukwueze, Victor Osimhen, and Ademola Lookman. Everyone's expecting these players to turn up. I think not much eyebrows will be raised if these players don't make the cut. Everybody wants to see the new players, see the options that are available, and see something new as far as the Super Eagles is concerned.
Yes, Jerry, everyone wants to see, the new crop of players who definitely battling jerseys with these guys. But the question or the problem I have with all of this back and forth, every day news stories around this Unity Cup is the fact that today we will be hearing that, okay, these guys will not be part of it. Tomorrow we'll be hearing, okay, Richard has changed his mind. Let Richard just decide on, who is going to be part of this Unity Cup, and let's just get that done. I don't get the whole idea behind today we'll be discussing the inclusion of Victor Osimhen and the likes because he wants to test his tactics. Tomorrow we'll be discussing the exclusion of Victor Osimhen and the likes because, of course, some of them will be missing. I think all of the calendars of the players should be with him. He should also know the ones that will be available if he wants to actually, bring them into his game plan. And if they will not be part of it, let everybody know and let's get this done. If a player will not be, if a player will be missing tournament because of injury, let's also know that it's happening because of injury. Let's see the list of the players that will likely be part of this particular, invitation tournament. I don't like the idea of this, I think everything around Nigerian football has been revolving around this Unity Cup for too long. I think it's time for us to actually just move on and then have, a proper conversation about, something else. Perhaps maybe our football development, infrastructure in Nigeria, and all of our other things. Because I don't know why Richelle keeps doing this. Yeah, I think a few days ago we were discussing about inclusion of players who are going to be joining from the home front, right? Home-based players. I think about 12 of them. So now we're having a conversation about, okay, yes, FIFA have actually added this particular tournament in its calendar, and of course now we're having a conversation about bringing the best legs, and today we're having a conversation of exclusion of these guys. Come on, what exactly are we doing? What exactly is Richelle doing? What exactly is the football governing body doing? That's the question I'll be asking myself because I don't know what to expect tomorrow.
But the good news is that at least, yes, we already know that 12 home-based players have been included in that list, save for Ahmed Musa, who we already hear is going to captain the team. And a lot of questions have been asked. What is the purpose of this friendly if Ahmed Musa is still going to captain this squad in London in a Unity Cup game against Ghana and maybe Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica? Are we going to achieve anything if we have the likes of Ahmed Musa and 12 home-based players who might not play when the World Cup qualifiers come to play?
Exactly my big question. Now, I understand Richelle's point where we'll be looking at, okay, perhaps he's actually trying to use this particular tournament to test his tactics. But then inviting these players into this particular, four-nation tournament and then not end up playing them. Okay, let's say you have already the idea of the number of players you want to actually use to prosecute this particular tournament, and then you invite this group of players. With the likes of Osimhen, Ademola Lookman, some of the key midfielders who are actually regular in the Super Eagles at this point, the likes of Onyedika and Wilfred Ndidi will not be part of it. And now we're going into a double header, perhaps in a couple of months after this particular tournament. Now you use this group of players to actually test your tactics. You get to that particular tournament, and then these players you use are not available, or perhaps you have them on the bench. How are these players who you'll be excluding be able to assimilate your tactics? Are they going to assimilate the tactics watching it on TV? These are the questions we'll be asking. So I don't understand what exactly Chelle is trying to actually achieve with this. I don't know if there's a plan for us to actually play a friendly game after this tournament. Perhaps, maybe that sort of game will be where we'll be inviting the likes of, the big boys of the Super Eagles to actually, execute that game. Maybe that's where he's actually planning to actually, test these guys and test his tactics with the first team players. So all of these things is quite difficult to actually take in. That's why I'm saying exactly what is Chelle's plan. What exactly is the plan of the NFF? Are we just going there because we see an opportunity for us to actually make money via the tournament, or we just want to go there to complete numbers, or we actually looking at this as an offshoot of a long-term project that we are planning to execute with Chelle? I really do not even understand the image this particular tournament is actually bringing to us. For me, right, I mean, apart from the fact, the only good part is the fact that, okay, for now, this particular tournament is officially a FIFA, a recognized tournament, and then if anything happens, these players will be, covered, right? But then aside that, what exactly are we planning, for what project, what plan does this particular, let me call it the project, what plan does it have, for the Super Eagles going forward? Because if you have, the home-based players who are about 12 of them, and trust me when I say this, we have a conversation about 12 players being part of this from the home front. With the exclusion of the likes of Victor Osimhen and co, those players that will be hearing their names, for the past couple of days, likes of Felix Agu, Igbo and co, who actually are new crop of players, young players that are foreign-born Nigerians. Many of them will be the ones that will be who will dominate this list, replacing these guys. Now, if they come in, a good number of them, that list of the home-based front that we heard that they are going to be 12 is going to shrink. We will not be surprised at the end of the day if we have about 8 or 6 of them going from the home front. Now, these are the questions we should be asking ourselves. How are we going to actually get a face? We need a face in our national team. At this point, we don't even know what our national team look like. Yes, we know we can say, okay, this one have a better quality over this one, but a team is not what we have at this point. And with the way we're actually going about it, it shows that we're really not planning for the future.
All right, we're not really planning for the future, but if you take a look at it, it's a lot of questions is going to be asked when this Unity Cup comes into play, and we don't get to see any spark, any difference from what we've been seeing before in terms of the players and the way they play, the way they coordinate themselves, the quality of play, and the technical ability of Chelle will also be tested as far as this game is concerned. And I think Chelle should be very careful as far as this friendly is concerned. It could make or mar the plans he has for the Super Eagles. And the fact that if they don't take this friendly seriously, it will show the kind of NFF, the kind of people we have running the Super Eagles. It means that they've not learned from what happened in the game against Zimbabwe. If it were to be any serious team, from the game against Zimbabwe, they should start making plans. What happened in the 10 minutes of that game? We didn't have defenders who could close shop and make sure they secured the 3 points of the Super Eagles, which would have made things more easier ahead of our next World Cup qualifying games. But now we need to look at options. Now you now have an opportunity. Now FIFA is even recognizing these friendlies. Are we going to throw away the opportunity of discovering new talent and creating another bedrock, maybe a team B that could suffice when Osimhen, for instance, anything happens, he gets injured or his club side is reluctant to release him because he's set to move to a new club side very soon. And the likes of Ademola Lookman will also be moving to a new club side very soon. A lot of fortunes for these players is going to change between now and the end of the transfer window. And it means that during that window, we're not going to be playing the World Cup qualifiers. At the end of the transfer window, then we are going to be praying for World Cup qualifiers. That means these players have changed club sides. They have a lot at stake as far as their football career is concerned. So we need to consider this option. You are taking 12 NPFL stars. You are taking Ahmed Musa. You're already cancelling an opportunity for one player who would have made a lot of difference. Imagine Ahmed Musa is going to start in that game against Ghana. And say, for instance, we lose that game or we even draw or win that game. what options does it create for us? If Samuel Chukwueze is injured, if Moses Simon is injured, are we going to call in Ahmed Musa confidently in a game against South Africa away? So there are a lot of permutations to consider. Chelle should not just take this friendly as just any other friendly to waste time and call players that you may eventually not use.
Jerry, I mean, this whole thing is like, you know, the case of a man who plans to actually get married to a woman and then, you know, make the woman his wife eventually, right? But then that's not how it's actually done for someone who is actually looking at the future. You actually have to get a wife and then bring her into your home. Some women are actually not wife material, right? So that's exactly what, you know, it takes to actually build a long-term project. Now look at this Super Eagles team, and I always take examples from plethora of, you know, examples that we have across the world. From, you know, what we see present day in Morocco. 2009, they set up a project, the King Mohammed VI Academy project in Morocco started in 2009, and today Morocco is arguably one of the strongest teams in Africa. We can look at France. France actually didn't qualify for the World Cup in 1994, and of course their project started in 1988. 10 years after, in 1998, they got their first World Cup. We look at Sir Alex Ferguson got in his first 4 years was actually, you know, a building phase for Manchester United, and of course he became the most successful manager for Manchester United. We can look at Jurgen Klopp when he joined Liverpool. Liverpool was nowhere among the best, you know, team in England at that point. It took him about 4 years to actually win, you know, his first major title. We can go on and on. It's just a point that when you want to actually get it right, you actually build a project, and it takes time. Now you bring in a manager, and then his first 2 games, you know, was a very competitive game. He managed to get 4 points. Now you're actually going into, you know, a lesser competitive game, right? Or not a competitive game, you know, if you have to put it that way because of the nature of the game. And then you are having to take out your key players out of it. Now, how is this man going to actually test his tactics? What are the plans for the Super Eagles to actually get a face? Do we have to play friendly games after this? Like you rightly pointed, if we get into a very, you know, tight corner against South Africa, will the likes of Ahmed Musa come into play to actually help us turn the tides around? We saw the last Nations Cup. Ahmed Musa's absence was not felt. We got to the final without him. It is high time the people who are actually managing our football, who are actually running our football, looked into this, understand that the time for Ahmed Musa to actually hang his boot is long overdue. Let him step aside for other young blood to actually come in and then do the needful. Now we are having a team that we really recognize. The reason why I talk about the class of '94 was because of the way they actually started when West Africa actually took the job in '89 down to when we won our first Nations Cup. We saw this group of players won series of both collective and individual awards. It showed how big the national team was at the point. If you cannot wake up overnight and then you want to declare yourself champion by actually excluding your best legs when you want to actually go for a trial. Now, one of the reasons or one of the places where you get the best legs is during trials. And trials are games where, you know, the competitive level is not as big as this. How will Eric Chelle, I always ask, how will Eric Chelle actually, you know, get the time, or when will he get the time to actually test his tactics right? Who are the players that he's going to be using? You cannot use Team B to test your tactics and then expect Team A to execute that tactics that you've tested with Team B. It doesn't work that way. I don't know what the plans are. I keep saying it, but then I don't know what the, you know, people who run our food want to do with this particular unit tournament. Are we going to actually have series of games after this to actually help these boys, you know, get to know the managers, and the manager also get to know the boys in return, so that we can actually, you know, be in good position to face the game against Rwanda and of course South Africa in the coming months? These are the questions we should be asking ourselves. But I mean, a lot of players that will be part of this tournament obviously are players who we may not even get to see even in those double header that's coming next. So why are we then having them, you know, part of this particular team? Why? These are the big questions every Nigerian will be asking at this point, because I don't know if Eric Chelle actually is beginning to, you know, submit to the people running the football. Perhaps he doesn't want to actually handle himself or putting himself the same way he actually handled himself in Mali, where he decided what he wants to do, and then, you know, what he wants was actually given to him. Perhaps he's beginning to succumb. Maybe he's beginning to look at the Super Eagles job as a job that he wants to stay for too long. So maybe he's beginning to play the politics of, you know, let me bend and allow these people to do their thing. Whatever happens.
All right, it is what it is, but that will be a sad way to go as far as the Super Eagles is concerned. We understand that Maiwa is joining us virtually, and Maiwa, it's great to have you join us on Locker Room. We're just talking about the situation of the Super Eagles, the importance of this friendly, and the fact that the likes of Osimhen and co will not be a part of this friendly. So what should we expect to achieve from this friendly games?
Well, it's always amazing to be here. I don't think these are the kind of friendlies that we need Osimhen and the rest of them for. The reason is this: remember, we are looking for suitable replacement for players in our team, players that can come in and be part of the team. This is not a tournament. We already know what an Osimhen, a Lookman, and the rest of them can do. However, we have said it, many times on this particular show, the deficiencies we have in the defense, the deficiencies we have in the midfield, and even in the attack. If an Osimhen is not playing, we all know that we have a difficulty scoring. It means we need somebody that will be able to step up. God forbid Osimhen gets injured, somebody should be able to step up and do the job. We have to manage a Ekong to play against Zimbabwe, and that cost us 2 points. And this kind of competition is where we are supposed to look for talent that we don't know before. At the moment, I don't think we have a first 11 that's a first 11 in the real sense of, if we have to we don't have a suitable replacement, and that is very. I will not expect. However, I'm sad, surprised about the news of Ahmed Musa. There is reason why we are trying to.
All right.
It doesn't make any sense.
All right, Mario, we can barely hear you due to the network glitch there.
Yes.
Okay.
For the country. So for me personally,
All right, we apologize for that technical glitch on the part of the network coming from Mario's end. But let's talk about the game. The Unity Cup game will take place at Brentford's home ground, with Nigeria facing Ghana on the 28th of May, and Jamaica 3 days later, with several top players unavailable. Chelle will look to new talents to represent the Super Eagles in this tournament. So we take a look at the quality of the competition. Though Ghana has been struggling of late, but that's not to say that they're going to be pushovers. They're always a major thorn in the flesh of the Super Eagles. We know it's more like a West African derby. Ghana up against the Super Eagles of Nigeria. So we expect a lot of fireworks, and we should be ready. We should not go and face embarrassment, because if we face any form of embarrassment, FIFA is already recognizing this friendly. It means that it's going to also show in the rankings that will be released. We understand Mario is back with us. Mario, can you make your conversation, wrap it up here before we move to the next one?
I mean, the thing is this is an avenue for us to discover players that will be able to step into our national team. Yeah. And this is an avenue for us to be able to see the players play. Osimhen and the rest of them should not be part of this tournament. Yes, FIFA is recognizing it. At the moment, we should not care about rankings. But our ranking take us. The bottom line is this: we need players that can step up to the Super Eagles. We cannot afford to continue to play an injured Ekong in a crucial World Cup qualifier because we don't have the player. Our midfield is in shambles. We have quality midfield. If some players drop out, we don't have a suitable replacement for them. 10, 15 years after JJ Okocha and the likes of them retired, we have still not gotten a suitable replacement. If Osimhen don't play, difficulty in scoring goals. So I hope Chelle is able to do things right, get us the players that will be able to fit into the national team. And for everyone, NFF should leave Chelle alone. The Ahmed Musa showing up on the list, the conversation about Ahmed Musa making that particular thing is definitely connected to somebody in the NFF pulling the string. And I hope Chelle is able to stand his ground and reject this undue interference from those running our football, because if we continue this way, our football will never grow.
Yeah, continue this way, our football will never grow. But it seems like Chelle has caught the bug of doing what the paymasters want, whether he likes it or not. If that happens to be the case eventually in this friendly, it will make a mess of whatever he has in plan. It means that we have not learned from the fact that we are not going to the World Cup. as far as I'm concerned, we're not going to the World Cup. The same mistake we made the last time out. I think the last time we failed to qualify for the World Cup, which was in 2022 in Qatar, was due to the fact that we could not even sort the issues of coaching. Yeah, I remember, I think we went to the Nations Cup. Was it in that a year before that? We were supposed to bring in Josep Pesero. We failed to do that. I think it was Genotro. And then they went to that AFCON. No, the government was taken to that Nations Cup. And we crashed out in the, talking about the knockout, in the knockout stages against Tunisia. And they still went on with the Gabon experiment to play against Ghana.
Okay.
We went away, were unable to win. I think we came out with a draw. And we came back home in Abuja and lost by a goal to nil to Ghana. Thomas Partey's goal. I will never forget that goal. And since then till now, the best we've done with the Super Eagles is going to the final of the AFCON. And since we came out from the final of the AFCON, I noticed that we've not made progress of taking advantage of the situation to learn from the past experience and get a better preparation. Is it that we are moving forward, or we are just comfortable with the fact that we just have the name tag, we are the Super Eagles, but there's nothing super about administration of football?
Okay, so that's exactly a very good question, Jerry. If you bring a child who is, say for example, an SS1 student to actually manage, to be the head boy of a school, the senior prefect of the school, you know what that means. The problem the person is definitely going to be encountering. So that's exactly what we have at this point. The people running our football, are they qualified to be at that level? How exposed are they in terms of football administration? Their level of organization tells you everything you need to know, right? If you look at of course in 2002 the man who was actually managing our football at that point was a water engineer, talking about Ishaya Makaku, who was the Minister of Sport at the point. Now tell me what a water engineer, of course late, tell me what a water engineer would be doing as a football administrator in the biggest football brand in Africa. I mean, at that point, we have the best legs in Africa. I mean, the likes, his problem with the likes of Olise, Finidi, and Co., who has won the UEFA Champions League, was actually the reason why we couldn't actually go to the World Cup, because that team had to actually get the crop of the players actually had to follow the coach, who then was the late Mamadou Chouairou, and of course the big boss Stephen Keshi. Now, look at the man who is managing our football today. What is his pedigree in football management? Where has he managed? Has he managed, above his state level? What exactly is his qualification as regards that? Now, what has he done? What has he done as regards football innovation, or development in his home state? These are the questions we should be asking. So when you bring a square peg and then you place it in a round, or you expect that a square peg to become round, then you are the one who is having the issues. Nigeria as a country, we've shown over time, even this is not just peculiar to sport, every part of our management, the government, it shows that we've always put people who are actually not very qualified to actually manage it, and that's why we're suffering. Check across the world where projects as regards football has been made successful across the world. You see that people managing these projects have the biggest of CV to back their job at that particular place. I mean, we were discussing about Dan Ashworth handling United's project. Why were we talking about Dan Ashworth? It was because of what he did at Brighton. When from Brighton he moved to Newcastle. We saw what he did, this project, how it came to life in these two particular clubs, and then he moved to United before, of course, he left due to disagreement. These are the questions we should be asking. Across the world, we've seen it. The man who is in the M of affair in Juventus today was the same man who brought Osimhen to Napoli. And of course, there are rumors that he actually want to bring him back. These are the kind of questions we should be asking. So if you bring someone with less exposure, who doesn't know what it takes to actually run a national team level at this level, trust me, you're definitely going to get this sort of result. I'll leave it with terrible words after the 2002 World Cup. He said when you bring junks and experienced players together, they will give you the result of a monkey, and this is exactly what we're having. This is just a monkey result. You don't get anything super, right? So you just have a result of monkey jumping from one branch of a tree to another. This is exactly what we're having to do. I don't think at this point we should even be calling ourselves super egos, because you cannot call yourself super when administratively you don't even appear super.
Pretty sad. Maiwa, have we really improved from the failure to qualify for the 2022 World Cup? looking at 2026 World Cup is already looking like it's going to be a miracle, of which I am not going to be part of those who's hoping for that miracle, as far as I'm concerned, because we failed to plan, and we're already planning. We already planned, and we have failed. What we're just doing, we're just salvaging the situation. We're not we, the NFF, and those who are running football.
Well, the thing is very simple, and the saying is over. The people have over, they've overused the saying, and even at that, it still makes sense. You cannot continue to do the same thing and expect different results. It's not possible. What happened in 2006? It is because we decided to go with somebody that doesn't understand the basics of how to run football. That cost us the World Cup ticket. What happened in 2022? The same issue of organization cost us that particular ticket. The same organization is costing us this. Remember, we were supposed to play Argentina sometimes ago. Because of lack of organization, because of lack of documentation, we were unable to play Argentina, a top team, in a friendly match. The way our football is being run at the moment, there is an indication that those managing, piloting the affairs of football in Nigeria, they don't know what they are doing. The only time that there has been a bit of stability in our football was during the military era. And it was because obviously, it's not open to democracy. People, it's appointed by a particular person, and they were a bit passionate about, succeeding. I remember that particular time, one of the objectives, in as much as a whole of people were against, one of the objectives was we had to qualify for the World Cup. And that happened, and there was a plan put in place. But since 1999 till date, since democracy came back till date, it is one issue or the other with our football. The person Ikechukwu mentioned the other time, Isha Amakaku, water engineer, running our football. Gusau, from nowhere, everybody was talking about it. Congress came, Gusau came out, and he became OGG president, meaning sudden president. The same person that has not been able to run football successfully from Zamfara that he came from is running our football in Nigeria here, and we expect to have a different result. The same person oversaw the debacle of bringing Pasero back to come and do photo op with the sports minister. What happened after that? It took us another almost 12 months to appoint Chelle. And even when we wanted to appoint Chelle for the biggest brand in Africa, we went to appoint somebody that has less than 50 international matches under his belt as our coach. I'm not putting the fault on Chelle. I'm not blaming Chelle, but it's because of our lack of organization. The same Chelle that they previously rejected over 7 months ago, they went back to beg Chelle. The same people, again, they told us Bruno Lambaja is coming, his people are already on the plane, and they even put it on their official page that this person is coming. It didn't show up. It shows the kind of people in our football, and you will not expect a different result with the kind of comedy that we have running our football. The bottom line is this: we have to get it right before we begin to succeed on the field. The only people we talk about the success of Man City. Man City got it right in the boardroom. They got it right in the boardroom, and it translated to the result you are seeing. Or that we don't get it right in the boardroom, and in those running football, we will continue to have this issue. We will continue to talk about this issue in 2030. If we continue this way, we will not qualify for 2030 again. We just have to get it right. And inside time, those people in the state airface, those running state airface, I hope they are seeing all this. I hope they will be able to produce somebody that is passionate about our football and not somebody that's interested in just bearing the name of NFL president, so that it will save us from this mess. It doesn't make any sense. After 78 years, we are still talking about this. It doesn't make any sense.
All right. And when the 2 years appraisal was held, when the last Congress was held, Gasol was busy giving us cock and bull, would I say, success stories of his tenure so far so good. And I felt, anyway, it's not his fault. It was even the media personnel that went to cover those things and started publishing it. We know a lot of hungry journalists who will just publish anything because of what they will get, because they will not want to tell the NFL president and those who are running football the truth. And I even will not take the bulk only on Gasol, who knows next to nothing about administrating football. What about the likes of Felix Ayaseago, who was part of Eimba Okay, we can say maybe he's a local champion, but what about all those, the Secretary General and co? What is their responsibility to make sure that they point Gosol the right way? Unless the man is saying he's not going to listen. He wants things to be done this way. And I think that is already a plan that has already failed. I can't wait to see the next Congress and what Gosol will use to tell us that he should be given another extra 4 years. I remember Amaju Pinnick was shedding crocodile tears, saying that if the next NFL president comes and he fails to qualify for the World Cup, that should not be a yardstick to remove him. Yes, you have failed to qualify for the World Cup. Yes, you have to be let go. And of course, he was the longest serving NFL president. He served for 8 years. And Gosol, unfortunately, it's looking like he's going to do 4 years based on quota system and protection around him to make sure that he does 4 years. But I think he should even resign. I shouldn't wait for the next Congress. Immediately after the last game, he should drop his resignation. He shouldn't wait for any Congress because he has failed woefully as far as his tenure is concerned.
Well, the sad side is that, is he going to resign? Why is he resigning?
You know, the African mentality, they will not resign.
Exactly. So if he resigns, is the resignation coming with money? If it's coming with money, perhaps he will. But if it's not coming with money, why will he want to resign?
Pretty sad.
I mean, it's not the first NFL chairman that is not that the Super Eagles will not qualify the World Cup on that belt.
Let me even blow your mind. Gosol was at the last, talking about the NPFL winner, Remo Stars. When Remo Stars was given the title in Ogun State this past weekend, Gosol was there. And guess what they went to do? Mm-hmm. They went to present an award to recognize the governor of the state as an achievement award that is the team from his state has won the NPFL. What are they doing? They are trying to romance the ego of the governor to give them extra codes. Thanks for coming. Because I don't see the reason why you are giving him an award. For what? These are the you know, our NFL president and officials, they've turned beggars, international beggars. Because they look for every opportunity to squeeze money from politicians. That is the only business. That's the only thing they know how to do very well. Yeah, that's the only thing. And if you take a look at what Remo Stars achieved, this was private sector driven. I think what I should have expected the NFL president to do is to go and ask Osimhen, oh, how did you do it? Please, I need some administrative lessons. Show me how you were able to make Remo Stars champions. Will
Osimhen drop money?
Osimhen is a billionaire.
Is he going to drop money?
Also, I'm telling you, they are going to launch the best hotel, courtesy of Osimhen's pocket. And it's, of course, when they are going back, thanks for coming. On behalf of the NFL, I'm appreciating your presence. And the percentage of the winning money, let's not forget, 150 million is involved. Everybody will have to be there. Yes.
Jerry.
That is how football is in this country. It's very, very sad. It's really appalling. I think I've even lost my voice talking about Nigerian football. Or sometimes I don't even want to talk about it, but it's pretty sad. Pretty sad.
See, this is exactly how they want the league to be. This is exactly how they want our football to be. And that's why the people who are in charge of it are not complaining. It is you and I who are just passionate about the game, who, we just follow the game because we love it and not because there's something we were hoping to gain. The journalists that you talked about, the ones who are actually praise singers of these people, they will keep doing their job. They will keep doing what they do to put them in the positive side of the people. So these things will not stop, Jerry. If you look at Liverpool won the league. The mayor of the city where Liverpool club side is.
Did you see the England FA chairman there?
You understand?
Did you see him romancing? Did you see him romancing John Henry and begging him for?
These are the questions. Your league is not a private-owned league. It's still very much under the curves of the government. That's why you always see stuff like this.
But it's like the club that won it is a private.
It doesn't change anything. The club is playing. The club is playing in a league dominated by the government, owned by the government. So until we have a total free league, a league that is private sector driven, then we can start having a conversation. This is exactly what we're talking about. In the EPL today, we know that is more like for example, call it, let's say Bankers Cup, for example. All banks come together. That's going to be a total free private sector driven league. So that's exactly how our league should be. Different brands should come up and set up their team and then play under a particular structure. Then the government will just be like a supervisor or an overseer. That's exactly how the league is going to grow. But until we have that sort of arrangement, forget all of these things. Forget this thing you are seeing with Remo Star. Remo Star is still, paying homage to the government one way or the other. We are here having a conversation about Ikorodu City the other day. You forgot? When the Ikorodu City guy were asking him,
that's true.
So what's the plan if Ikorodu City makes it? He said they were hoping that Lagos State government will step in because they don't want to do Bambiala. Jerry, somehow, whether private or not, this guy will definitely go romance the government. And if that keeps happening, it means that, do you know how much the Ogun State government is going to vote into this guy's continental charge? It's definitely going to support them. It's not supposed to be so, but it is our reality. So let's just agree. Whatever it is the government is running in this country, just know that at best, the only thing you can just do is just sit down and look at it, because there's nothing. See, putting your hope or your trust in it to give you the very best of result is you just throwing or dashing your hope away. And that's exactly what we've been dealing with over the years. Mayowa was talking about in the 70s and the 80s how the Eagles, if you look at that team, check every single time Nigeria did well in the championship. Every single time, whether at 8th grade level, whether at apart from the female, whether at 8th grade level or open category, you will realize that every single time we did well in the championship, we have a seamless of what looks like a proper organized government driven team. We have an organized structure that helped us to actually achieve that. Because whatever happens in the boardroom will definitely, turn out to show its head in the ballroom, and that's exactly what we see.
I know Gosol should just keep gathering as much as he can gather, because history has always told us that any NFF president or NFA president that fails to qualify for the World Cup always gets put out. I remember Galadima when he was interviewed when the Super Eagles failed to qualify for the 2006 World Cup. He said that it's not Nigerians' birthright.
I remember that statement.
To be at the World Cup.
That's true.
Nobody forgive me for that statement.
Let's be very honest with ourselves.
They don't want to see around the football fraternity.
Jerry, let's be honest with ourselves. One serious question we should be asking.
Please don't say anything that will
your football career. I'm not saying anything. but Jerry, I'm just saying something. Let's just ask ourselves one very good question.
Yeah.
If at the end of the day, because I'm very optimistic, if at the end of the day Super Eagles qualify for this World Cup, is that a vote of thanks, or is that a positive vote for Gosal to remain? Should that be a yardstick for him to say, okay, you've done well? Because now we are hinging his success on us qualifying for the World Cup on net.
Unfortunately, when the next Congress will be held and the Super Eagles qualifies for the World Cup, it will be the major playing card that is going to use to contest for another 4 years. That's the truth. Everything defies logic as far as Nigeria football is concerned.
Is it not clear?
It is what we use.
Exactly. Is it not clear?
It's clear they struggle. But among his caucus, they will not use it as a campaign strategy. They say, in spite of all the struggles, in spite of all the no money, in spite of everything, we did everything administratively. We went ahead and qualified for the World Cup. We thought the genius of Gosol brought in Eric Chelle at the 9 minute when things were going hard. See, if you are there when they will start the campaign, you will fall in love with Gosol. Don't worry. So that is how things are run here. But it is not supposed to be. But it is what it is. Because I'm even looking at the Flying Eagles. Let's talk about the Flying Eagles. They get to play South Africa, the Amajitas, they are called, in the semi-finals. And they're already talking about winning the AFCON on the 20th. Of course, the Flying Eagles have won it before, but it's going to be a big test for this Flying Eagles side, whom I'm still yet to be convinced, as far as I'm concerned, until when they win the AFCON and dazzle me. Then I will now say, yes, this AFCON, this under 20 team, they're ready to at least show their best. At least they've shown some glimpses, but still not enough for me.
Well, we're having this conversation yesterday, when we're actually hoping, we're actually waiting for the winner between South Africa and DR Congo. of course, at the end of the South Africa actually emerged as expected. I was hoping DR Congo will emerge because, I was hoping South Africa will emerge because DR Congo is going to be tricky. Nigeria, sometimes we go approach games like that, in a very, very, with a very easy mentality, and sometimes it ends up costing us. South Africa is a top brand in African football, so definitely the boys will definitely want to step up their game, like Senegal, and of course I hope that the Flying Eagles will get results in this particular one. Now we are in the semi-finals. Hopefully we do all we need to do, get the trophy home, and then we can now have a conversation of perhaps seeing them through to the final, winning the World Cup as well, because we are yet to win that particular one. But the big question that we'll be asking ourselves, because Gusau is talking about this particular team, telling them, charging them to actually bring the trophy home. Again, it goes back to the conversation we were having before. If these guys end up winning this particular championship, the Super Eagles qualify for the World Cup, and then maybe by stroke of luck or something, these guys actually get to the finals of the World Cup and win it. Again, I'll ask again.
Which World Cup?
The Under-20 World Cup.
You don't win the Under-20 Cup by law.
No, I'm saying
you have to work out for it.
I am saying, of course, I mean, it's a tournament. You can get easy draw, and sometimes the best team will be knocked out.
Is that quota system appointed coach you're talking about? Don't worry.
Jerry.
We are waiting. We actually calm down.
Jerry, at this level, right? At this level, the players that will be playing this tournament are not big players. So at this age grade level, sometimes things can go your way. You don't need the best of coach to actually execute it. The coach that won the World Cup for Ghana under 20 is also a home-based coach, right? I mean, these things happen. What I'm saying is that I'm not even looking at. I'm looking at this now based off Gusau. If all of these things,
Gusau has already given them his blessings now.
What I'm saying, so his blessings is enough for us to now see him as a good candidate to continue.
No, he says he has blessed them. They are going to win the Under-20 AFCON. And you have already given them Under-20 World Cup.
No, what I'm saying is, if it happens that we qualify for the World Cup and these events happen in our favor, does it mean Gusau deserves to stay? With what we've seen?
Yes, no.
So far?
It deserves to stay according to the logic, as far as Nigerian football operation is concerned. My all you understand, because that's what he's going to use to sell his candidacy for the next 4 years.
I mean, the thing is this: unless people are being biased, unless money has changed hands, there is nowhere a Gusau remains as the NFF president. Why are we even struggling to qualify? And don't let me even start with the Under-20. Look at the guy playing Under-20 for us. I don't want us to start having the conversation of MRI again. Look at the Under-20 team again. I was able to watch the Senegal-Nigeria match yesterday, watch the game from start to finish, examine the boys very well. Can we genuinely say that these guys are actually 20-year-old?
I can say for the goalkeeper, it's actually 15 years old.
Is that
Ikechukwu has sparred with the captain before. Bami, I think you know him very well.
I don't know the Bami. The goalkeeper is 15 years.
The goalkeeper is related.
I can vouch for that one.
You're related to the goalkeeper.
I'm not related. That's what they said his age is.
Okay, I'm 12 years old. That's what I told you. That.
I mean, so look at it. Look at it. It doesn't make logical sense. And we want our football to grow. Do you think these guys, these Under-20 guys, I'm not showing as passionate as them. They are in the finals. Good for them. I was one of those that said they will get to the final. They will beat Senegal and the rest of that. But these guys that I'm looking at, do you think they will be the next Super Eagles? We will still continue to rely on the foreign-based players when these guys cannot perform. And so this organization, they have a proper organization, they have a proper pipeline to bring in people to the national team, and that's the reason why we are presenting fraud as our age grade team. It doesn't make any logical sense. Another thing again, I hope the EFCC, they are still torchlighting on the billions that was assigned to the players that were owed, because nothing has been said about that money. The NFL president is flying about. Nobody is questioning him about owing people for the money is not being paid to them. And yet, if by some miracle we qualify for the World Cup, by some miracle we qualify for the World Cup, Under-20 by some miracle wins the Under-20 World Cup, Gusau will say he wants to stay, and we'll still allow him to stay in this country, and we expect our football to grow. It doesn't make any logical sense. The bottom line is this: people like Gusau should not be running our football. It's a shame that out of 200 million Nigerians, somebody like Gusau that doesn't know anything about running of football properly is the one in charge of our football. It's just a big.
Wow. Yeah, I'm actually looking at the players and their faces. I have to look very well anyway. These are the other 20 players while we're talking about.
This number 8 is under 20. Number 10 is under 20.
You're supposed to be in under 20. Go and shave your beard.
No.
Go and train again. Go back to the training pitch. You can still make the under 20. You are still very young.
No, Jerry.
You can make it.
Jerry.
Even Chelle will say you can make it.
Jerry, football. You know, this sort of training that they go through can actually make you look very mature, way mature than your age.
Yes, than your age. I agree with you.
I mean, look at the goalkeeper. He's actually 15, and
yes, it's actually even 14.
No, it's not 14. 15.
He's 15 years old. Yes.
Are you sure?
The goalkeeper. He's very short. They are related now.
It's 15. Wait. I'm sure. If Lamine Yamal were to be in Nigeria, you will not believe he's a 17
Lamine Yamal, yes. As far as it's called for Nigeria, I will argue.
So Jerry,
the system you are coming from does not make it is easy for you. It's not their fault.
So that's what I'm saying. I mean, the condition of our economy.
This guy is not looking more mature than Lamine Yamal. Who is 16?
The economy of Nigeria is more mature, makes it mature overnight. It is what
true.
It is. The economy of Nigeria, yes, now.
They had life. And of course, the multidimensional poverty.
Malnourishment will naturally make you more mature.
Nigeria has the highest number of malnourished children.
You understand? So you look at this.
Yes, imagine that age grade. They are mostly malnourished.
If these guys,
but what are they eating? They're looking like this. If malnourishment is very high. Anyway, that means they are exempted for the malnourished ones.
No.
When they are playing, okay, at least the air tacos they are getting.
No, what I mean is, Jerry, what I mean is the balanced diet. I mean, you can eat, but if the balanced diet is not, consistent, and of course the right nutrient and fruit.
But they can run around the pitch.
It doesn't change anything.
These ones, if they jam you, there will be problem. Your leg will just.
If they, no, Jerry, if these ones jam their mates,
yes,
17, 18 abroad, you see it now. See, if it's by
who will suffer more?
These ones now. Because they are not.
That's an error.
Okay, Jerry.
Those ones, if Lamine Yamal leg hit this one.
Okay, Jerry, by your.
Lamine Yamal will visit the hospital.
Jerry, by your permutation. Wait, now by your permutation, these guys, if these guys are actually, not what they say they are, we should have had more than one team from the under 20 win the World Cup.
Which of the World Cup?
Under 20 World Cup, yes, now.
It's not by feeding overage players now. It's about how technically good you are. Yes. So we've seen 16-year-old Lamine Yamal is destroying players.
Okay. So how many 16 years old are like Lamine? So are you saying that there is nothing like age in football? Because trust me, if we go by this logic,
the thing is that in Africa, where age cheating is allowed, they believe that when the player is far older, he has an advantage over younger players. But over time, the technical gifted people, like those in Europe, understand that it's quite different. It's not about.
That's what I'm saying now.
But that is
under
the
20 level, when we take, for example, when we take under 20 level, when we take players that are already 30 to that tournament at that level, we should have been winning the World Cup now.
It's not about that. Anyway, we have to wrap it up. Ikechukwu, thanks for being a part of the show, and big thanks to the guys behind the scene who made the show great. Talking about the likes of Shegun, Paul, and of course, not leaving out Sam and Ikechukwu. And there, this is how we wrap it up on Locker Room today. Up next is Political Lens with Chukwuma Okoro. My name is Jerry Apello. I say thanks for being a part of the show. Until we meet again, stay safe, and if not waiting at all, tweet the Sport Week.